Good morning, Pelham Road. Happy Tuesday morning to you. It's Tuesday, April 14th. You may not know this, but this day in history in 1912, and now a few of you do know what I'm talking about when I say 1912. This day in history in 1912 was the day that the Titanic hit an iceberg. It actually hit the iceberg, I think, late at night on this evening, and it didn't sink until the 15th, but it hit the iceberg today. So that's your today in history, and that's what this morning's broadcast is brought to you by, is this day in history. I have these photographs from when I played basketball as a child. We weren't very smart. We didn't put any names on the back of the photos. And the only person who, after all of these years, that I actually recognized was a guy named Byron. And he moved away in junior high school. And I don't remember a whole lot about Byron except one thing, and obviously it's made a big, deep impression on me, so that's why I still remember it. We were on the playground at the elementary school, and a bunch of us boys were making fun of this other boy. And Byron went and took the boy we were making fun of by the hand and led him off to play elsewhere. At the time, I thought, well, Byron's just not one of the gang. He's kind of weak. But now, I really realize that Byron was braver than the rest of us. We were mocking and bullying that little boy. The light slowly going out on us. And up stepped this courageous boy who cared not a bit about what his image was in our eyes. And he simply did what was right. Do you think there are any Byrons left in the world? When I think about people doing the right thing, I also think about Mary Dyer. This was a heroic woman who got banished from Massachusetts because she was a Quaker. They threw her out of Massachusetts because she was a Quaker, and they told her if she ever returned that they would kill her. And she returned, and they hung her on Boston Commons, where a witness later wrote, "She hung there like a flag, and as the noose was placed around her neck, this is what Mary said. 'This is to me the hour of greatest joy I have ever had in this world. No ear can hear, no tongue can utter, and no heart can understand the sweet intakes and refreshing of the Spirit of the Lord, which I now feel.'" You see, Mary knew that there was joy in saying no when all the world is saying yes. She knew there was joy in doing the right thing when all the world was doing the wrong thing. Now, speaking of courage, well, we can't miss Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who refused to worship a statue of gold and were thrown into a blazing furnace, where tradition holds that they were accompanied by an angel who kept them from harm. Their example is a stirring reminder that when one stands on the side of good, we actually stand with the angels. In these days, I find I need to be reminded of these stories of people who did what was right, even if it cost them something. The Mary Dyers of the world, the Byrons of the world, seem to be an endangered species. You may remember the book To Kill a Mockingbird. And I think To Kill a Mockingbird should be required reading in churches. There's a scene in the book that was altered slightly in the movie. Atticus Finch is sitting in a chair outside the jail. He's there to protect Tom, who is the black man who's been falsely accused of rape. He's there to protect him from a mob. And sure enough, the mob shows up, and they're going to try to kill Tom. They demand that Finch step aside. He refuses to. And then they begin to shout at him. And then Finch turns to them and asks them in the book to speak more quietly. He tells them that Tom's inside sleeping, and he doesn't want him to be awoken. So the men in the mob lower their voices. It's a wonderful scene and illustrates perfectly and powerfully the moral authority that comes with people of courage. Courageous people don't have to yell or belittle or criticize or bully. The people of courage are often the ones being criticized because nobody likes someone who stands up for principle. When I read that scene for the first time, I kept rereading it over and over. And I said to myself, I absolutely hope that when the day comes that I am called on to be courageous, that when I am called on to do the right thing, I hope I can be as brave as Atticus Finch. That day will come for all of us, won't it? When we have to choose between standing with the crowd or standing with the angels. When we must, in the words of Joshua the prophet, choose this day whom we will serve. Will we stand with the popular or the powerful? Or will we stand for what is right? Have a blessed day.